What's going on? A to Z Sports live here for another edition of Titans at 2. I am Sam Phelan, coming at you live from St. Thomas Sports Park in the Dr. Doom Room to discuss a preview of Titans at Indianapolis Colts, the first division game of the 2023 season for the Tennessee Titans, and some key players returning to the practice field earlier this week. So appreciate everybody in the comments here as I check out the comments. Staying patient. I see Lou Man was in here early. Appreciate you guys hanging out and staying patient with me. We had to go talk to some assistant coaches, so we got to, chat it up with Rob Moore, Jason Hotailing, and some of the Titans assistants about the returns of key pieces here. Peter Skoronski back into the fold. Nicholas Petit-Frere reinstated from his gambling suspension 2 weeks early, and Kyle Phillips returning from IR as well. All players that are going to have big impacts in this Colts game. So talk about those guys and what the Titans need to do defensively to contain Anthony Richardson. But before we get into today's show, I want to tell everybody about my good friends over at Doughbird, our partners at Doughbird Pizza and Rotisserie. That's where you're sure to find flavor. They bring you a crave-worthy menu with an unexpected yet perfect duo of pizza and rotisserie. They're located out in Green Hills with something for everybody. I'll tell you guys a little bit more about Doughbird later, but whether it's family fun, a sports bar environment, date night, whatever you got going on, head to Doughbird for it. They'll get you hooked up. I keep asking questions like this. I like this from Kenneth Davidson. So Skoronski's definitely a go. If you guys have any questions on your mind about Titans at Colts, feel free to fire them off. I'll let you know what the vibe has been here at St. Thomas Sports Park throughout the week and where I feel like things are kind of leaning. And to answer this question from Kenneth, yeah, I like definitely is kind of a weird word to use, but I am operating under the expectation that Peter Skoronski is going to play against the Colts. He says he's taking it day by day, but he's been out there, he's been practicing, he's been taking a lot of reps, and this is a very drastic turnaround from him not being out there at all last week. So right now, my expectation is for Skoronski to play. He was listed as a full participant on yesterday's injury report. So still kind of in wait and see mode, but I'd expect to see number 77 starting at left guard for the Titans on Sunday. And Kenneth comes in too. Need him back for sure. Well, the other guy that the Titans kind of needed back is the guy you see down there on the graphic, Nicholas Petit-Frere. Very weird situation going on where there was a lot of speculation about NPF coming back and where he sort of fit into this puzzle with Chris Hubbard playing really well at right tackle. And, Peter Skoronski obviously assuming the left guard spot and what that means for Dylan Radins and questions about, well, where does Nicholas Petit-Frere, who has not played left tackle at the NFL level, go? Well, yesterday at Titans practice, NPF was working on the left side of the line. He was working at left tackle, working in with both Peter Skoronski and Dylan Radins next to him as the left guard, rotating in with Andre Dillard. Now, this doesn't mean Andre Dillard is not going to play for the Titans. In fact, where things sit right now, I would still expect Andre Dillard to be the Titans starting left tackle in Indy. But this does mean that the Titans are exploring every single option with NPF and that they feel confident he might be able to handle those responsibilities. Jason Hotailing, who I just got done talking with on the field at St. Thomas Sports Park, said versatility, obviously a big thing here with the Titans, and was a big thing when they drafted Petit-Frere out of Ohio State last season. This was an aspect of his game that Tennessee really liked. And so he has the reps and the experience at left tackle in college, and now is starting to take some snaps over there in practice. And, maybe that means the leash on Andre Dillard has been choked up on a little bit. Maybe it's a little bit shorter as you head into division play, because this is a very big game. And yet CL Jackson comes in with the eyeball emojis. This is a big eyeball emoji. This was a lot of speculation that I kind of became reality as I got out to the practice field. And I said, whoa, number 78, he's not where he is normally at. He's on the wrong side of that line. And Jonathan, big comment here. Hopefully he can at least be better than Dillard. I think Titans fans, the expectation is very important here. If there is an understanding that Nicholas Petit-Frere is not going to come in and be an all-pro left tackle or even a Pro Bowl left tackle. I don't think that's a realistic expectation for him. I think the hope, if you're a Titans fan, is that NPF can be exactly what he was as a right tackle last year, which is fine, which is serviceable. Because right now, if you're the Titans, you would take fine and serviceable from the left side of your offensive line. And you feel good about Peter Skoronski coming back and how that might strengthen that side of the group. But if you can take a fine and serviceable left tackle right now in NPF, where do I sign? I think is what a lot of Titans fans would be saying. But let's hear from Tim Kelly, who talked about making decisions on the offensive line, how he makes the decision about whether or not NPF comes back, and trying to find that best 5 options up front.
I think we just got to keep continuing to see how the week goes in terms of how they prepare and how they practice and where they're feeling. And then, just like we talked about last week, right? Finding the best 5, the best sum of the 5. That's going to go out there and give us the best chance to win a game.
You confident there's nothing involved in who's playing left tackle Sunday outside of who's blocking the left?
I'm not sure what you're trying to ask.
There's no status, contract.
I think it's pretty clear here that with the way Coach Rabel runs things, it's whoever's going to give us an opportunity to win the game is going to be the guy that's out there playing.
You feel it.
That was Tennessee Titans offensive day. Talking about finding that best 5, he makes it very clear, right? Contract status, things of that nature, not a factor here. This is about who plays the best football. Who is their best 5? Is that Andre Dillard? Is that NPF? How do they figure out that group? Jason Hoteling kind of, said a lot of the same things when I spoke to him about we have a lot of versatility, kind of a good problem to have when you feel like you have some options, but now it's about figuring out who can do what. I see some comments here from Stephen Harden and, Music City Malik wanting to know about the challenge of facing Anthony Richardson and how Malik Willis may be a factor in that in scout team. I'm going to talk defense in a little bit, but I want to keep talking offense and talk a little bit about another guy that is returning, because NPF helps the Titans potentially. It helps their offense tremendously because we know the offensive line is critical in staying ahead in the down and distance. They can't get behind the sticks. They can't allow sacks. They can't have pre-snap penalties, things that Andre Dillard has been a liability at to start this season. We know they need to be better up front in order to play like they did against the Bengals, where over 60% of your third downs are 3rd and 5 and shorter, and then you're able to convert with a lot of ease. Another guy who's going to help them do that is Kyle Phillips. And I talked to Tim Kelly and wide receiver coach Rob Moore about Kyle Phillips, potentially putting him on punt return and what he means for this offense. I'm going to tell you guys about that conversation. But before I do, quick reminder that you got to get over to Doughbird. You can grab a seat at the bar at Doughbird and stay a while sipping on inventive craft cocktails made with fresh daily juices and homemade ingredients alongside local beers and a menu of fresh wines to pair with every delicious bite. They have happy hour Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. So that's getting going in 35 minutes here. If you don't have plans yet tonight, maybe get going before Thursday night football. The Bears Commanders, a must-watch game for everybody, but head out to Doughbird, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Deal starting at $5, half-price bottles of wine, and a Bottle and Bird special where you can get a bottle of wine, an entire rotisserie chicken, and 2 sides for $40 when you dine in. So a lot of good things happening over at Doughbird in Green Hills. Can't recommend Doughbird enough. Let's get to Kyle Phillips, who is back on the practice field, pretty much looking like himself. I talked to Kyle Phillips yesterday afternoon, and, he had a ton of confidence. He's like, yeah, look, unlucky, right? Went down, contact injury with the knee on punt return, but back, ready to be impactful, frustrated. He's kind of that, looking out the window at all of his other teammates playing football, wishing he could be out there. But, NWI, Chris Moore, these guys stepped up pretty well with Kyle Phillips out of the picture. Now that he's back, though, what can he be for this Titans offense? Let's go back to Tim Kelly real quick, talking about the impact of Kyle Phillips.
Continuing to find ways to get him to do things that he's going to be successful at. Again, he's with that wide receiver room right now, it's unique in the fact that they all kind of have a little different skill set, and finding the sweet spot and making sure that everyone's kind of getting a little piece of the game plan in terms of putting them in spots where they have an opportunity to go out and win.
You have
That's Tim Kelly, offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. I went on to ask him a little bit about Phillips' skill set, and I think he worded it perfectly. He said, Kyle Phillips gets open for his quarterback fast. He gets open fast, and anybody who gets open fast is going to help us stay on schedule. So just like I talked about Nicholas Petit-Frere and this Titans offensive line trying to stay ahead of the down and distance, third and manageable, second and short, second and manageable, how that can be valuable to them by having offensive line help. Well, having Kyle Phillips is going to help, because maybe the one area of this wide receiver room that has been a shortcoming so far has been their short area quickness, their ability to kind of find space and get open for these like 6-7 yard gains on first or second down and give Ryan Tannehill easy reads, easy options to get the ball out of his hands quickly. DeAndre Hopkins does this very well for the high profile, high caliber wide receiver he is. But I think when the Titans offense is at their best, that's more of Kyle Phillips's role, while DeAndre Hopkins is a little bit more intermediate and winning some balls down the field. So Kyle Phillips adding to this offense gives that, fills that void. And you hear Tim Kelly also talk about what can he do safely? What can he do that he can excel at and succeed at? There's been a lot of buzz about Kyle Phillips potentially being the Titans punt returner when he comes back. And I'm interested in the chat here. I've been asking on most of the podcasts I've done this week. So chat, if you want to get involved here, let me know. Would you rather Kyle Phillips be the punt returner, or the Titans call up Mason Kinsey from the practice squad again and have him do that? Keep in mind, you only have 48 guys that you can take, active on game day or whatever it is. So Phillips, the worry for me is the injuries. Obviously, we know that he hasn't been able to be out there because he hasn't been durable enough to be out there and has kind of had some unlucky, steps here and there throughout his career. Does putting him at punt returner put him in a place to fail and a place to potentially get hurt again when you know he's essential to your offense? The Titans coaching staff, whether it be Craig Aukerman, Tim Kelly, or wide receivers coach Rob Moore, who I just spoke with, didn't seem to have a ton of concern about that. They were like, well, look, he's a great, talented punt returner. Let's go with the guy who can help us win some football games. But I think Phillips is most valuable to your offense on third down, to your offense on second down, trying to get to, turning a 2nd and 15 into a 3rd down and 6 or a 3rd down and 5, and what he can do for your offense. So I don't want to lose that over punt return if you have adequate options elsewhere. So my vote would be for Mason Kinsey or Kearis Jackson when Jackson comes back. And so I'm looking at trying to see what the chat has to say here. Lucas Burke says he thought Mason did really well with punt return. And, this is the weird part about this. Okay, Lucas, because the Titans coaching staff agrees. They keep saying, Kinsey did an awesome job. What a phenomenal 21-yard return he had. They're raving about how he did really well, how the punt coverage unit did really well. And then we hear, but it's probably going to be Kyle Phillips this week. And I feel like if you feel that strongly and you have such a positive opinion of what Mason Kinsey did in his 2 games of opportunity, that's somebody who I would keep rolling with right now. So, Bork says he holds his breath when Phillips is back there fielding punts. Jason is a little bit stumped. It's a complicated question. Titan Fox says he wished Kearis didn't get injured. Very true there. I see. Why can't Chris Moore return punts? I don't know if Chris Moore has ever really been a punt returner in his career. That's not really something he's done. And this I adamantly disagree with. From Jonathan, Spears should return punts. If Kyle Phillips is too valuable to your offense to have as your punt returner, Tajay Spears is definitely too valuable. So that's another side thing of this that's also interesting. I think Kyle Phillips is going to play this Sunday. I think he'll be out there. And we are TBD as to what the situation looks like at punt returner, but I am expecting number 18 for right now to be that guy as well, even if a lot of the chat, like Jim Pittman, thinks they should stay with Kinsey. All right, let's move to the other side of the ball because it's easy to talk about the offense this week. We have a lot of guys returning. We have a lot of guys back from injury or suspension or whatever that make all the storylines based on the offense. But I'm very intrigued by the Titans defense this week going against Anthony Richardson, somebody who is on the complete far end of the spectrum from what Joe Burrow was last week. Arden Key said last week the Titans were trying to stay in front of Joe Burrow, match hands with Joe Burrow, make sure they don't run past him, affect him, and get him off his spot. He wasn't moving around. He wasn't pushing the ball downfield. He wasn't really a threat for explosive plays. We knew all of that going in, and we saw how the Titans defense dominated Cincinnati because of that. Anthony Richardson leads the NFL in explosive play rate among quarterbacks. He's dynamic with his legs. He's dynamic with his arm and has made some really great throws through the passing game to create explosive plays for Indianapolis. And really, to me, has looked a lot better than I thought he would this early into his career. So a very fascinating matchup that could pose some challenges to the Titans defense. So I'll play you a very fun quote from Arden Key about what they're trying to do against Anthony Richardson. Also hear from defensive coordinator Shane Bowen. But before I play those, reminder who is partnering with me for today's show, and that is Doughbird Pizza and Rotisserie, located out in Green Hills. I've mentioned countless times now what you can do with the dine-in options at Doughbird. And if you've ever seen my Monday Titans at 2s, most of the time I am at Doughbird hanging out because the ambiance and the feel inside is so great over there. But if takeout is more your style, you can still grab the family on the fly takeout bundle to feed your entire family. Doughbird's the go-to spot to go in the neighborhood for any of your to-go orders. So Doughbird Pizza and Rotisserie, where you're sure to find flavor. Again, located in Green Hills, right next to the Shake Shack. If you're familiar with that, you have to be. If you've ever driven through Green Hills, Doughbird's right there, and they have some great options for parking as well. So very convenient parking. Real quick, let's get to the defensive side before I wrap up here. Defensive side of the ball and the challenges of guarding Anthony Richardson and containing him. First up, here's defensive coordinator Shane Bowen.
Really with him, just understanding his skill set, right? All the things he brings to the table. He's a freak athlete, super talented. The ability to run the ball, the ability to throw the ball, it's all there. So we just got to understand that every play he's going to be a factor. We got to be keyed in on him.
There's kind of two sets of theories, I guess, when a lot of teams go when they play a rookie quarterback. Some people want to throw the kitchen sink at him and make him make quick decisions, speed him up, and others want to lay back in coverage and disguise and confuse. What's the best approach?
Yeah, I think everybody's got their own way of doing things. I think ultimately it's a combination of the two, and I mean we'll kind of see which direction we go here come Sunday.
So there's defensive coordinator Shane Bowen about Anthony Richardson, obviously looking to contain him. Interesting stuff here. MB brings up a potential mush rush for the Titans, and I think I would have expected this too. The vibe I've gotten and basically what I've heard from the locker room talking to players and coaches is that is not the game plan for the Titans. They are not looking to go with the mush rush. They're kind of treating him a little bit differently. He's not necessarily as like they don't view him as Lamar Jackson. They view him as sort of a Deshaun Watson type of guy who's difficult to bring down. But as Arden Key said in the locker room, and this is my favorite quote of the whole week, Arden Key, he's still a rookie quarterback. The Titans are looking to bring pressure after Anthony Richardson. And if they can pressure him, they think they can make him make some mistakes. So you said last week, wanting to get some batted balls, get your hands up, knowing that Burrow would get it out quick. It kind of had a different strategy for him. What's the approach to Anthony Richardson, a guy on the opposite end of that spectrum, very mobile, very athletic?
Yeah, getting him down, making sure we tackle him, tackle him, and affect him. He reminded me a little bit of Deshaun Watson, just a strong in the pocket, big quarterback. We gotta wrap him up. Gotta wrap him up heavy, hit him up top. But at the end of the day, he's still a rookie. We're gonna do a lot of things to come at him as a rookie to see if he can handle those things.
Can you look back at some of that film from maybe those missed opportunities with Deshaun?
Yeah, we look back at it the week it happened, then last week. Just the missed sacks, the missed opportunities that we had. And it's the same way every week. Just make sure we get those quarterbacks on the ground.
How do all the design runs
You're going to see Taylor on Sunday.
Say that again?
You guys expect to see Taylor on Sunday since he's back at practice?
Yeah. He back at practice. We think he up, so we're gonna expect him to be up. If he not, then we're good.
Yeah. What makes him such an effective running back?
He's a great running back. I mean, he's a known runner in the league. He's been doing it 4 years now. So he's respected and earned that respect.
With Richardson, he is getting more design runs than any other back or quarterback this year. How much of an opportunity do you feel that would give you to, get to him early in the game and knock him off?
It'd be good. It's a lot of college type stuff, like read option, speed option, those type things. We did a lot of that in training camp, so we knew that we got a lot of quarterbacks in our division, especially that can run the ball with those speed options and things of that sort. So we did a lot of that in training camp, but we up for the opportunity now.
When you have a big quarterback like that,
You hear it from Arden Key himself, man. And MB says he doesn't get the impression that they fear him. I kind of got that impression too. I think that this is all about the Titans trying to challenge Anthony Richardson. And it's a very difficult, thing, but it's about balance. You don't want to give him too many holes up the middle because he'll step up and run. You don't want to break contain on the outside because he'll get out of there and he'll run. So it's staying true to your rush lanes. It's staying patient. It's trying to bring some pressure and affect him and hopefully speed up his internal clock and force him to make some errors. But of course, as we know about this Titans defense, making sure they limit explosive plays is going to be very critical for them. If they force Indianapolis to get on some of these long, methodical drives where they're running the ball a lot. And, Jonathan Taylor also expected to be back on the field. Shane Bowen says they're game planning to play Jonathan Taylor on Sunday. But if Jonathan Taylor's back, right, this might be a very run-heavy offense, even more so than it already has been. That, I think, is good news for the Titans defense. I think that's what they're looking for. They want methodical drives. They want more opportunities to create turnovers from a rookie QB or get after him, bring him down. And I see a lot of comments like, well, that's a freight train more than a speedboat. It's very funny because, Shane Bowen said today during the press conference, like, well, yeah, he can run with like speed of Lamar, but he doesn't really run like Lamar. He runs more like Josh Allen. And that's kind of what Anthony Richardson is. It's what makes him very special player, a very unique player. And the game plan for him, I think, has to be unique in its own right. So interested in keeping an eye on that challenge. And then, of course, those names that we mentioned on offense, Peter Skoronski, Kyle Phillips, and Nicholas Petit-Frere returning to the field potentially this Sunday. How does that change things for the Titans on the offensive side of the ball? That's all I got for you guys today for Titans at 2. Do me a favor and like the show before you go. That's a big help. And I want to remind everybody about my partners over at Dobert in Green Hills before I peace out of here. Every Thursday, every Monday around 2 p.m., unless I have interviews like I did today and I have to start closer to 2:20, I am live at 2 o'clock to talk about the Titans and their either upcoming game or the game that we just wrapped up. So I'll be back Monday afternoon. I'll also be back on the A to Z Sports morning show tomorrow morning with Austin Stanley. Keep an eye on A to Z Sports prime time later tonight with Buck Rising. And of course, A to Z Sports.com for all of the written content that we have as we chug along to a division game and a rivalry game. It's Colts week, ladies and gentlemen. Week 5 is coming soon. I'll see you guys later.